Now, here's the one thing that I found it's a good opportunity for us to have some debugging skills. Now, did you notice that the object moved up a little bit? So when we are moving in X and Z dimensions, right? It is not supposed to move in the Y dimension at all. But that's not what happened. Now, see what happened when I try to run it? Now, right now, I'm just gonna ignore so I'm gonna start moving right now. Now, see what happened, how it jumped? Now, that's not something I intended, right? And it's not how it is supposed to work. Now, I need to understand what happened in order to fix it, even though it's not my fault. You're working with code written by people, even though it is a proprietary code, it still can be buggy, but you still need to work with it, okay? Now we need to figure out what happened so that we can adjust our code and fix it or like deal with it somehow. Now, how can we figure out what happened? We need to know what happened for this jump. Yes. It dropped out and what do you mean? Okay, that's possibility, but we didn't program it. Okay, that might be possible internally that there is some force that was introduced. Okay, that's possible. Okay, but we need to track the movement, all the dimensions of the object in order to see what actually happened and how. So we have some speculations like this. Now we need to figure out exactly what was the situation here. So I want to print out the position of the object every time the frame is updated. Okay, so I'm gonna print in the debug log. I want the object game object dot transform dot position. Now we know the position is part of the is part of the transform component. And then let's see what happens every time we try to move. Now, the thing is that I'm leading towards a direction specific because I observed different behavior in different situations. So that led me to a particular direction. So that's why I'm moving in that direction. Okay. So when I had the box touching the ground like this jump happened. Okay, so I'm now starting to move. Now see, this is the original position. It's not exactly touching because when the position is 0, it goes like in the middle. So the central point of the box is in the middle of the box. So that's when if you positioned it at 0, it's gonna look like this. Now, if I started to move it, now see, once I started to move it, all of a sudden it becomes 120. Okay. Okay, so now it seems like the X and Y are fine, but I mean X and Z are fine, but just for this jump in the Y was the problematic thing. So now I happen to try it out when I have the box a little bit higher than the ground like this. Now let me see if it will add this extra jump. Now when it's not close to the ground, it doesn't add this extra. It doesn't go to the 120. It doesn't add a jump, and it doesn't go back to the 120. Okay, so it seems like it only adds this. It seems like there's a bug there that only adds the so it changes the direction of the y, or the position of y, if it's less than some particular value. So I tried with 115, and when I did try, so with 115 still goes to 120. So what if I had it at 120? So it's not jump. I see this proposition that it is because it's touching the ground. It give it this jump because of the collision of the ground is not really valid, because at this moment it's not touching the ground anymore, and still added some values to it. So there's no proper explanation to it. It seems like whenever it's higher than 120 or equal to 120. So that's if it's starting there. I mean, if I tried with 15, it's not touching the ground, so it's not about collision with the ground. It still jumps to 120. Okay, so only if I started at 120, that it would stay consistent. Okay, now that's not the situation with all the objects. So that seems like it's only with the Q. Now I tried other types of objects, it didn't have this behavior. Okay, so it seems like there's some bug in the queue. Okay, now we need to deal with that. Either we create some position the object on another object to create the illusion that it is still on the ground, or use another type of object instead of the queue. Okay. All right, anyways, let's try to actually capture the gem, and let's see if we will be able to win. Okay, so we should be able to win, hopefully. Let's start, and we'll actually try to capture it. I moved in the other direction. Yes, so now I did capture it and I won. Now you see, if I missed it, it hit the ground and I lose. And when I capture it, it didn't hit the ground. I mean, it hit my box and collected. I win. Okay, now what if we have other objects? So let's say add some clutter there, and we'll see if, well, it will print that there was clutter. I guess we have a message to say that this is a clutter collected, right? Collision. Yeah, so else, if we have other objects that we don't want to collect, or we collect but we it's not considered as a win. Okay, so let me just add another sphere here to represent the clutter and have it with a different name. Now, just a warning, if you try to update the scene while it is while it is running, it may appear like it is responsive. It may think that you did actual update. So I'm just gonna add it here just so that you can see it. I'm gonna add a sphere here. It seems like I added another sphere that I wanted to be a clutter. Okay. It looks like I did add it, right? Now, if I stop the scene, it would disappear. Okay, so if you try to edit while it's running, it gives you the opportunity to test what you're trying to add, but it doesn't save it. So once you stop it, it disappears. Okay, so if you're trying to add something and then can't find it anymore, you just remember to stop the game from running. All right, so now I'm gonna add another sphere here, and I'm just gonna give it another color so that we can recognize it. Let's go to the material. So let's say this is black. Any color, so it doesn't really. So I just wanted to stand out so that we can see the difference between the two spheres. So let's use this dark color, black, so, and then we can drop it here. Okay, now I will deliberately try to capture the clutter so that we can see the message. Oh, it needs to fall down, so I need to make it a rigid object. One rigid body. Okay, now let's see. I'm just gonna make it fall directly on it so we don't have to worry to think about it much. So I need to rotate it a little bit, seems a little off on the set. Yeah, so it should have collided. Now let's see. Clutter collected. Okay, now we need to make sure that it is destroyed too, right? Okay, so on collision, it is recognized that it was collected, but it should disappear to give the impression that it is not out there anymore. Now, if this is the case, in both conditions, we want the destroy to happen. So we can just put the destroy outside the if statement altogether. So we can put it here. And now it should disappear, but with not a when message, with no when message. Okay. Now you can create a capacity, a variable that like if you exceed capacity, you can't collect anymore. So you should avoid collecting clutter. You can add all this logic to your game, right? You can have a score variable to collect a score and all that. So I'm gonna leave you built on that.